This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, being 6 p.m., we'll bring the August 7th, 2024 Tilton Budget Committee meeting to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. I'll move we accept the minutes of March 6th.
I'll second.
Are you all set, Stan?
Mhm.
Okay. You second?
Yes.
I know you weren't here, Joe. so-
I'll abstain.
Yeah, so, any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Abstain.
Okay, great. All right, so, typically, we no longer send out letters to local agencies, correct? We just put that on the website? Okay, great, super, that's all set. Then we just have to basically get that together when they come in, right?
Yeah,
And-
nothing's come in yet.
And typically the town budget won't be, I mean, as soon as you have any departments ready, well, we'd love to have them come in. Yeah,
We're making good progress. Heads currently. We're making good progress. Right now, I'm going through with the department heads, going through their budgets. And there'll still be some things coming in October that we don't have currently. Some of the insurance quotes, those are usually, those come out in October, before the end of the month in October. But other than that, we'll have, we should be ready in, I would say, mid-September, done with the department budgets, that we could,
oh, great,
could start meeting with department heads if you like.
sure. Did everyone get a copy of the, what was it that you sent us, the budget book
Mhm,
current?
yes.
Yeah,
That you emailed me?
An older version of it, but yeah,
Yeah,
should
yeah.
be fine.
I have a real old, I like the hard copies just because, just a lot,
I
Yeah,
print
I'd
them
like
for
a
you?
hard
If-
copy too.
it's a lot
I
easier
can
to
print them
make-
up for you and have them for the next meeting.
make notes and ear, stuff like that. Okay, that'd be great. Anything else? Welcome Joe Jesserman to the
Welcome.
board.
Thanks. I was telling Tim, in all the years that I've done town stuff, this is the only board that I hadn't served on. And here I am.
Yeah.
Welcome aboard.
Have you been on the trustee trust funds?
No, I take it back.
See, I've been on that one. But,
We want to mention Judy and make it official.
oh, yes,
for the
okay,
record.
so, we will, with, heavy hearts, we will accept Judy Tilton. I mean, I'll make a motion that we accept her resignation.
A second.
I'll-
Yeah.
I don't think Judy's going to care.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know,
He
I don't know if we have to
accepted
vote
her.
on that or not, but, all those in favor?
Aye,
Opposed?
sadly.
Opposed, yeah. And so that leaves us with another opening. If anyone has any suggestions, please bring them in.
Should we put out a letter of interest or ask for letters of interest the way the selectmen are doing it? Or is there some other way to do it?
What is that?
Well, there's a spot open on the select board, so they ask for letters of interest to people to go on the board. Should
Okay.
we do the same thing? I mean,
Sure, is that something you put on the?
Did they do it publicly in a newspaper of some form or just out on the?
on the
Cork board.
website.
To save money, we don't advertise in the paper anymore. There's an RSA that allows towns to be able to just post in an obvious place on the website. So that's what we've been doing. So we have a adverts area right in the front, and it has things that we'd normally put in the paper. So yeah, we can put up a notice asking for interested people to submit information for the budget committee. Yep.
Interesting side fact. By law, the Lockmere Village District is required to appoint a representative to the budget committee. And I have yet to be able to find anybody, and I can't do it because I'm a selectman and
Right.
I can't represent two things at once, apparently. So,
Right, I
but
know.
we're still looking for that too.
Okay, that would be great. Yeah, that would be good to have.
If you could mention that in your thing on the website.
Particularly a Lockmere resident would be
Um,
valuable, right?
I think
the
so.
budget committee. Yeah.
Do we know who took over the budget or whatever it is that they do there? Because there was Paul Boudreau. Is he still doing that?
Paul
He was-
resigned as of this meeting, so we're looking for, or yesterday, that meeting, the
Okay,
last
he just
meeting.
resigned.
Yeah, so there's two of us, and we're looking hard, and we have a couple of maybes, so.
Okay.
We will be back up to full strength.
For the Lockmere district itself?
Yeah, Mr. Boudreau, the chairman, is well into his 80s and a little sickly. So he can't do what he needs to do for that position, sadly, because he's been doing it 20 years. or
Yeah,
so.
institutional knowledge.
Oh, yeah.
Like those guys who are on every committee, right?
Yeah, right.
So if you know anybody or their neighbor, let
So
them know.
we could get the calendar together too, in next year, at some point we'll need to have the public hearing and stuff, just to get a perspective on that.
Do you want to set a whole calendar or do you want to go month to month for now until we have more?
Yeah, we can go to month to month, but
Okay.
just looking forward a little bit.
Okay.
What does the skeleton of the schedule look like? Mostly September, October?
It's actually,
And then-
December is sometimes our busiest month because
December?
everybody's
Sorry.
that couldn't come in before come in.
Mhm.
Yeah, some September, we don't have much of anything. And then October, November, December are the more busier times.
Yeah, I was going to say that once October, we get to the end of October, we should have firm numbers on everything. And up until then, we'll have everything else filled in. It's usually the insurance numbers that we're waiting on that are late in the year. But generally speaking, the public hearings have to be held no later than about 10 days into February. I'd have to look at the calendar, but usually it's around, I think the last day to hold a second public hearing is like mid-February. And that's an important date for us anyway, because we have to have the town reports done and in town hall, including the budget and the warrant, by the week before town voting. So that's usually, the very beginning of March. And so if you work backwards from that, printers are chomping at the bit to get those things. So the earlier we hold the public hearing, the sooner we get the budget finalized and in the town report. So if you kind of work backwards from that, it gives you really all of January, all of December, all of November, with good numbers to work with. And then if you need more information, it gives us time to be able to research things and get you what you need.
Well, typically your analysis is great, Tim. I mean, everything
Thank
is
you.
very transparent and and you know everything is happening. So that thankful that you're here.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Well,
Um,
Whatever I can do or get you,
Yeah.
so.
yeah, unless anybody wants to rewrite the whole budget process here.
I'm not that guy, but I'm here to tell you,
No, but
I want to look at every line
Yes, well, we do
and
that.
talk about why we need. Yeah, but we don't do that at the other place. There's a lot of, well, we'll do this as a chunk. And there's a lot of those lines that I don't get to talk about,
Okay.
Mhm.
So there's stories downtown that says we could level fund or even taxes might go down.
If we have any opportunity to do that, that would be huge for the town.
Mhm.
Huge.
Well,
Because that's why you go to the meetings, like we went to the meeting for, the Caliph Hill and the Veterans Home. And the beginning of the meeting was everybody was talking, how do we keep taxes lower, taxes lower, taxes lower? And it's like meetings like these are the only way we can either raise revenue or lower spending.
The town votes on the budget committee's budget.
Yep.
The selectmen spend it however they spend it. They can
Mhm.
move lines around if they have to,
Yeah,
and
right.
or what have you. But the town votes on this budget,
Yep.
so we can make a significant impact.
Well, our budget is only about 30% of the tax dollar, right?
Less than.
Yeah.
Well, I guess.
So,
yeah, a
when
little
you
less.
really look at your tax dollar, we're a very small percentage
And
of that.
back a few years when I
It's-
was on the budget committee, we got frustrating that we went through a lot of the line items and went through, and then the select board had a different number. And a lot of times the town goes with the select board's number, or they have special warrant articles and you get frustrated, but that's who shows up. That's who votes for it. That's who gets the allocation the way it goes.
Well,
But
that-
at
that-
least in this arena, we can bubble everything up to light,
Sure.
ask questions about every line. So people who don't have those lines in front of them and are interested in how we got where we got.
Well, that kind of happened
have
this
a
year.
look.
This year at town meeting, we had, certain cuts, and they were reinstated by
Right.
because those people came and spoke up for themselves.
Yep.
And that's the town people at the meeting. And I
Mhm.
told them at the meeting that, these are cuts, but you can come to town meeting and state your case, and you could get it back. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how it worked. And
sure,
it's,
it's a
Oh,
great
it's
pro- it's a great
frustrating, but it's
process.
like, you know what? You got your say.
You're right.
And this is our forum
That's the
to have our
democratic
say.
process,
That's the
right?
process,
Well,
yeah.
If I may, I can tell you that the work I've done so far with it all, if you look at the costs of the town budget, about 60% of it is wrapped up in wages and benefits and things like that. And right now, we are tracking a little bit under the 24 budget for 25. And that's primarily because we've had a change of employees in various departments. In some cases, we've been able to hire at a lower rate, or we've changed the job structure somewhat. So in any event, the bottom line is that the wages and benefits are slightly lower. Of course, we haven't had our insurance numbers yet for 25, but based on what we have right now, we're looking at a very, very slight, almost negligible reduction, but still to be level from year to year is really unusual. So
Well,
in
property
such a large
insurance
area.
are going up.
Well, for us, we're part of a pool,
Okay.
and the rates are often based off of our claims experience, and so
We're a good risk.
I would say, generally speaking, we're a good risk. We've had a few claims this past year. I would think that would be in the average of all the towns, that sort of thing. We haven't had any huge claims, knock on wood, so far. So in any event, but the bottom line is when you look at the vast percentage of the budget and then you look at those things that are contractual and things like that, it gets, you spend a lot of time looking at, some of the finer lines, like why do we have to do this? What do we need this for? And
the
the
other
department
thing,
heads should be able to answer those things.
the other thing I would like to see is somehow revenues. If there's a way that we can tap more revenues, and I know you say that like our rooms and meals, we're not getting what we should be getting for that, but that's the way that the state works. Is this new project that's coming online, how is that going to impact um,
When you say the new project,
on the lake?
yeah.
Anchorage.
The old
Oh yeah.
Anchorage, yeah.
So it's called the Lake House, or no, the Estate
Preserve
House.
the-
The
yeah.
estate. It's the Lake Estate. That's
Okay,
what it
yeah.
is. The Lake Estate at Winnisquam. And it's really, really beautiful. The pictures they have and the artist renderings on the website are really pretty. But in any case, yeah, so that's going to have a big impact. U-Haul will have an impact. So
Great.
those things will help, will definitely help with taxes next year.
It's unfortunate
And it
that
just,
commercial rates have come down for evaluations because the home properties are so
well,
ridiculously.
yeah, keep in mind, there's one rate. So the rates haven't changed. It's just the assessments are
Right.
based off of sales. And commercial sales haven't kept pace with residential sales and appreciation.
Yeah.
So there is somewhat of a shift that's going to take place. But one of the things that I want to see done is I'd like to see us have a warrant article, which I'll be talking to which I have talked to the Board of Selectmen about, and will continue to as we get into the fall. But a warrant article for DPW where recycling revenues are captured and put into a revolving fund that will go to pay for DPW equipment. So similar to what we have for the police cruisers to
Mhm.
buy police cruisers, that we have that detail fund. This would be similar. So because we need to raise and appropriate more money than we have been for DPW equipment. If you look at our overall plans, and that's something that we can talk about when you get to DPW. Um, but by setting aside money like that and then making up any balance of what we need to raise on an annual basis, it might mean that instead of having to raise and appropriate $60,000 in a warrant article, we might only have to raise and appropriate 20,000. So maybe 40,000 comes from recycling revenues, and then the balance is whatever is in the warrant article from town meeting. And in some cases, the town of Thornton was doing 100,000 a year in recycling revenues. So it just depends, and of course there are costs associated with that. But and then the other thing is that we have raised the rates significantly for our details, and we are in good shape with our detail rates. We have work to do in both DPW for people that bring things, to the transfer station, construction and demolition. Other rates. If you look at our rates versus neighboring towns, we're a little under capturing revenues. And then also we permit things to be taken to our transfer station that other towns don't. So those things have to be looked at. And that's one of the things that I talked to the selectmen about months ago that I've been working on with the DPW director and getting data. And then the other one is our planning and zoning fees. We are significantly under other towns and what they charge for things. And it is a self-sustaining department. So the monies that are coming in are paying for if you look at it from the standpoint of the revenues and the expenses, it's self-sustaining, but it could be producing much more revenue than what it is. In some cases, I know that we've been asked, that's it. A big company comes in, they want to demolish something. The Shell station, when they were demolishing that, the demolition fee was about 1/10 of what they expected it to be, and that was, we're, I think in some cases we're missing out on some revenues there. So that's the other area that I've been working on. Again, collecting other town information,
Review.
looking at how we price things, and make sure that it's consistent and fair, and doesn't overburden anyone particular group, but at the same time is capturing, what we need to capture. So so to answer your question, I think there are revenue opportunities. But, again, those are still going to be relatively small compared to, the overall, the overall town. So,
When can we put in the toll booths?
yeah.
Right in front of
A
Brian
dime,
Lawrence.
a dime.
And even if,
For-
like you were talking about with all the numbers come around, even if the savings is negligible or just symbolic matters, to be able to show the town, hey,
Right.
go into town meeting and we could vote on this. It could be under, it's not a lot under, but it's under. And yes, we also want, yes, we also want, yes, we also want. Well, we could do what we tried,
Well, they
right.
And it's
expect, and
symbolic.
I expect as a resident, a certain level of services. The
Sure.
roads need to be right, and the cemeteries maintained,
Mhm.
and the police. I'm a big believer in the police.
Mhm.
Well, we have
We do.
a good department.
As good as we can provide.
Yeah, right.
And it's a spendy one, but I think we're totally headed in the right direction.
That was
And-
foreshadowed when we brought in the mall. The people said, yeah, it looks great now, but all your infrastructure costs are going to go up, which has happened. Yeah. Because of the number of people that
But
we
it's
now
also,
have to service.
it's
And
also the
they're not our local
opportunity.
people.
It's also the opportunity that Tilton has above Franklin and Laconia,
Right.
because that's why, working in Franklin and realizing the people that commute to Franklin, the message was always, I go all the way toward Rochester, and the biggest problem of my commute is from here through Tilton to get to, and it's one of the things that I think is slowly having an effect on Laconia and Franklin. It's an opportunity that Tilton has. And keeping things low, keeping things, nice and tight will allow people to add to exit 20 or, add a couple different, another condo complex in that area might not be a terrible thing, or somebody having the ability to add to the town a little bit. That's the revenue
There are
stream
some
we're talking about.
housing in the works, right? Which we really need.
Oh,
Yeah.
and some very big commercial project too.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, that also has housing attached to it. So there's some really
Is that the one that failed and is coming back?
no, there's another one in that general vicinity
Okay, yeah.
that is looking at 200 units of housing in addition to big manufacturing and warehousing. So,
Excellent.
but it is the age old, kind of in economics, it's called the guns and butter argument. What is your country going to produce? And here I've already, we've heard from time to time, is it, is it going to ruin the rural character of the town or is it not? And I've heard that said at the last grouping where people were running for office, and that was a big discussion. I moved here because it was so rural and nice. Well, I think Route 3 is kind of the cat out of the bag, with that. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
And but in any case, there are whether or not those projects come to the fruition, but there's another one of 18 units, another that has 40 units, and then a number of other U-Haul like storage facilities.
Mhm.
And so there's a lot.
Those are all going to be adding to our infrastructure costs.
Yeah.
Fire,
Not
police.
right. Not knowing what percentage of those will actually, go to completion and
Yeah.
fruition. But yeah, and it's also incumbent, on the planning board to implement the impact fees. So we do have the ability to charge impact fees.
We were trying to get that back in the 90s and nobody would do that.
Well,
Couldn't get it through.
we have the ability to,
Yeah.
but it is a planning board activity that has to come from the planning board in the planning process.
Right.
So.
Thank you. Any other business? How about next meeting? It would be next month.
We have not received any applications in yet, and
Sure.
so, but the deadline for that is September 30th. Do you want to come in before then to see if anything's come in yet, or would you like to wait till after the deadline date and start October?
Yeah, I guess if we do get, we could just make a meeting pending, which we could cancel if there's nothing on it.
Okay,
And
so
say
before, you mean?
maybe the mid-September sometime.
September 18th?
Sure. How does that sound?
And then if we get anyone interested in joining,
We could,
we'll be able to get them on board.
sure.
And if we get nothing, then it'd be easy one to
We could just
Postpone.
cancel it.
Do you want to do, set up the meeting after that too? So in case this one gets canceled, you already have one set up? You want to do like
Yes.
October 2nd or something? So right after the deadline?
Okay, the first week. Is that typically, aren't we the second week in
I
the
thought you
month?
guys were the first and third, right? Second and fourth?
Typically the second
Just the
until
second? Okay,
we get
I
into the
couldn't
cycle
remember.
where we have to have them every week or every other
I
week.
must be thinking of Selectmen.
So the second week in October.
Second week, so October 9th for the other one?
Sure.
So the 18th of September and October 9th.
Great.
Unless you want to do the
Very good.
second week in September as well. Keep on point, or would you rather keep it the mid-September?
We should wait probably later in September just to see if anything comes in, right?
So the 18th, then stick with the
Yeah.
18th. Okay,
Sound okay?
Yeah, that works.
an extra week.
Yeah.
So I've been changing my appointments and stuff. We're at, just to make sure, we're at the 18th of September. And then the 9th of October?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and
And then
you'll be
we'll
getting
see.
emails to remind you.
Yeah, I send an email at the
Yeah.
beginning of the
Mhm.
week usually of the
Have my
appointment.
email, right?
You should be on the list. You should be in the group.
Yes.
Yeah, you're in the group.
Okay.
You got the last email, so yeah. Take Judy off.
Both at 6 PM.
Yeah,
Is the 6 good time? Good? Yeah, we moved it from
6
7 to
o'clock
6. As much.
works for
Yeah,
me.
it's great.
It's nice.
It's easier to
Get
get
out.
out early.
Yeah. Did you
Appreciate that.
Get home to see Jeopardy.
Mhm. Especially when we're gonna have a couple people coming in at a time.
Right.
You
Yeah,
know.
there could be
Yep.
some long meetings.
It's late enough to let people who work 40 hours to get here
Sure.
and, not too late so that you can't get something done afterwards. I appreciate it.
I move we adjourn.
I second that.
All in favor?
Right?
Vote with your feet.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.